What is up? How's the Legion of Comic Collectors doing tonight? Welcome to another episode of Fanboys Live in the Retro Review, the greatest DC Comics show on YouTube. I am the host tonight. I am of course the comic collector. Over here, we got my buddy Magic Lasso. What's up, man?
Station. Thanks for having me on.
And then down here we got the one and only Tony Fett. What's going on?
What's going on, fellas? Another beautiful weekend.
Yeah, and we will have ComicFoo. He's just running a couple minutes late. So what's been going on, gentlemen? Any news?
Oh man, it was a pretty decent news weekend. I don't know if you guys read a lot.
The only news I read about was involving Ezra Miller, and from what I understand, he had went to a rehab clinic, and everyone else is dead, and they can't find him anywhere. Everyone was killed by lightning.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
Well, he's in some hot water, Mr. Miller.
Yeah.
Legal hot water. It seems like every week we're talking about something he did or has done. Or
I read one article that likened his behavior to Charles Manson.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I guess I don't know enough to make a decision.
Well, I guess he's like grooming people, and the way he's doing it is the same way.
Okay, Manson. Yeah, that one. I know what article you're talking about. Okay, yeah, sure. I guess I'd like to see that.
The last I heard, they're trying to find him, but he's run off with a girl that he's maybe kidnapped, brainwashed.
Come on, they haven't fired this guy yet? Like, what is it gonna take?
I don't know.
I guess we'll see. Like, if the Flash is like super successful, and I have a feeling it might be.
They say it's a good movie. They say it's tested very well.
So that's going to put DC in quite the predicament. Like,
yeah,
they want to keep positive momentum going.
But one thing that I did read in some of these articles, according to these insiders, and you never know, how reliable that is. But and they do have a point on this. Ezra is not thought of as the Flash. It's not like Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. It's not Ezra is the Flash. They're not in the same levels. So if they would have to replace him sometime in the future, they can. My question is, with behavior that's been reported, supposedly, as how they are, you never really have heard people complain about working with them on set. And I'm wondering, how does that go? You would think that if you have such erratic behavior in your regular life, that stories would fall over in your working.
He sounds like he's very charismatic. You don't become a groomer of people if you're not well liked and trusted,
or at least an actor in a big budget movie. Personality takes a lot. Like, you might be a good actor, but if you're a horrible person, Amber Heard, then probably isn't gonna work out so well.
Oh, and you know what the rumors are regarding that, don't you? No. Can we talk about that?
Sure.
The rumors is regarding Mara. They're talking about rewriting it so she's killed in childbirth at the beginning of Aquaman 2, and she will be gone.
That would be interesting.
And the new love interest, of course, for Aquaman would be Dolphin.
Yeah, but I understand. I completely understand. They just terrible people doing things to ruin perfectly good storylines, especially storylines we've all been wanting to see our whole lives. It's hard to talk about Aquaman without talking about Mara.
I agree.
You know what I mean? It's hard to talk about the Flash without talking about Barry Allen. Not that Barry Allen can't be the Flash. We can have a Wally West, but like, come on. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's a shame that we got to play this game.
Didn't they recast War Machine in the middle of all those movies?
They did.
And it turned out to be great. Turned out to be great.
Mm-hmm. So, there's no reason you can't. And I would argue Grant Gustin is seen more of as a Flash than Ezra.
Yeah.
You could bring him in for 2 minutes and end the movie with him being the Flash if you wanted to.
He could be an end credit scene, he just comes bursting through the speed Speed Force, and he'll be like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, where am I?" And I
Because
can't
this
get home.
involves the multiverse and changing of time. It's not that hard at all to recast at the end of the film, and off you go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but it's I've read a lot of conflicting articles about a lot of DC news, including the apparent plea for DC, Mr. David Zaslav, who's this big person taking over DC and the films and comics and whatever. He is 100% on board with bringing on Henry Cavill full time. Maybe not necessarily giving him another movie, but he'll just go bouncing from film to film to film, which would be really cool, by the way. At least I think.
It seems so weird. Like, from a fan perspective, I could understand someone saying that, like, Superman is our cornerstone. Like, we have to build this universe around him. But from how the DC brass and even the movies have handled it, it just seems so weird that that is this guy's stance. Like,
I completely agree with what he's saying. I can wholeheartedly support this decision, because when we think about DC Comics, we think about the Holy Trinity: Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Like, without those three, I'm not saying a DC universe can't exist, but like, you're trying to pull in not only you're going to get the diehard fans like us. We're going to go see these movies regardless, but they want to pull in people who aren't necessarily familiar with a lot of these characters. You know what I mean? Like, look at Blue Beetle, for example. That's a really obscure character who's getting a live action movie. And word on the street is that Superman and possibly Wonder Woman will be making some kind of not debut, but some kind of cameo in that movie. It'll be brief, but I get what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? They're trying to put butts in seats.
It's so weird that they haven't had truly successful movies, like, as far as what a Marvel film does. Almost every film they made's been a disappointment, but we're already into the unknown characters like Black Adam and Blue Beetle, and that just seems so weird to me. Like, I mean, the Batman, for instance, you could say that was successful, but that was still pretty 50-50 fan-wise on whether it was good or not. Like, you think you'd want to make a Batman or Superman movie that was out of the park making Marvel money before you'd make these other characters.
Yeah, it would have been really nice to get a couple of Man of Steel's movies in there. You know what I mean? A couple of really good, solid Ben Affleck movies as Batman. But, such is love in life. It doesn't necessarily work out. It sounds like DC wants to make Black Adam the main focus of the DCEU going forward, which I think would be a really bad idea.
It's because of who's playing him, not necessarily the character.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And I understand. You're right. And I think 90% of it is who is Black Adam, not who he is as a character. I don't see it. I think if they really wanted to do that, I would have kind of cast him as like a John Stewart Green Lantern, not necessarily a Black Adam. Because people like me, I don't want to see Black Adam as a good guy. Like, he's a bad dude. I want to see him as a bad dude. You know what I mean?
Think about the comics. I mean, I have no idea what they might have planned for him in Dark Crisis, but they just sort of did that in the comics with him. Like, we're going to bring him to the Justice League. He has this purpose we don't know of yet. He's important. And then everybody dies but him, and it's like, well, what was that all that leading up to? Was there a point to that?
I'm afraid they're going to take one of my favorite villains of all time, and give him the Harley Quinn treatment. Like, he's just misunderstood. Like, that's not what I want. Can you imagine, speaking of the devil, can you imagine if they did that to Sinestro? They just, okay, Sinestro, we understand you now. You can come be a part of the Justice League. Like, that would ruin the character.
In the comics, they kind of did it for a little bit there.
Yeah, but
I mean,
that's true. And
he's a good guy for a bit.
That's true, but I mean, like, as a fan, your favorite villains, like, that's why you like those characters, because of the personality. Look at all these Joker fans. You managed to did the Joker, like, hey Joker,
If Joker turned into a good guy, right?
yeah, turn the Joker into a good guy. Or
Isn't that what the White Knight's about? And that's super
yeah.
popular.
Yeah, that's true, but that's like a different universe kind of thing. But they did it with Lex Luthor after what is it?
That was done really good. It was some of the best comics I ever read.
Yeah.
And then they abruptly changed course when Snyder took over. Because you had to have the
they
Apex.
toyed with that for a while, though, right?
Yeah.
With Luthor being a good guy, or at least appearing so.
Well, he was even in the Justice League, and Superman had like come to believe he was good, and then abruptly changed face just because we wanted to go the Snyder way. Like, oh, he's full on evil again for no reason. You know, one moment he's literally Superman in Metropolis, the next he's with the Joker trying to kill the Justice League, which he's a part of. Like, what the heck? So,
yeah, I'm afraid that they're gonna blur the line between who's seriously on a good guy and who's like. It seems like there are good guys and there's not so good guys. You know, there's no bad guys anymore. Like,
I do get what you're saying. Like, they went too far with Harley. Like,
they went
she's
way
basically
too far with
Robin
Harley.
now.
Yeah, she's basically Robin now.
Yeah.
And I had no positive, no negative opinion about Harley until they started to bring her in. Like, oh, she has access to the Batcave. She's in the Watchtower. Like, who are you? Like, you're supposed to be in Arkham right now. You know how many people this person is? She murdered hundreds of people. And now she just all of a sudden wakes up one day and she's part of the team. It bothers me. It bothers me. Sorry, rant over. Rant over.
And I jumped in the middle, but so I don't know the full context here, but I think that's something that's been happening for many years now, where we see the blurring of good and evil, right? Whereas before there was two polars, right? And it was very clear. I mean, look at Star Wars, right? Like, Luke Skywalker is literally dressed in white and Darth Vader is in black, right? I mean, they couldn't have made it any more clear. And what we see happening today is we see a blurring of the lines. They want to go back and, like,
he was just
go deep into the characters,
Yeah.
like emotional well-being and all of that. And you want to feel bad for the bad guy now. And
it was
even
like you
bringing it
had
back
Guy
to Star
Gardner.
Wars. Sorry,
Right?
what's that?
Guy Gardner was like the middle. He was a good guy, but he'd maybe crossed the line a little bit. He was just a jerk. Well, that kind of character is gone now. Now it's like everybody's good. Even the villain has a good idea, but our old ways of thinking won't
not
let him
everyone's
do
good
it.
anymore. That's what I was going to say. Taking it all the way back to Star Wars, look at what they're doing to a lot of the heroes now, right? They're killing them off in the case of Justice League. But you look at Star Wars, what upset everybody? I mean, they turned Luke Skywalker into like a joke, right? So I think we do see that a lot. They don't want the hero anymore so much as they want to see that villain kind of rise up.
Yeah, like the whole Boba Fett kind of thing. Like, he's still like a mercenary, but they're painting him in a much more positive light.
Exactly.
The Boba Fett that I grew up and I love, he was this mysterious gunslinger, gunfighter. He didn't really care if he was working for the rebels or the Empire. It's like, hey, where's the money coming from? That's where I'm going. I really don't care.
I think I got 2 episodes into Boba Fett, and it's like, why do I want to see him learn how to run a city? Like, he's a crime. Not spoiling nothing. Like, he's a crime lord, but really, it's learning to run a city and basically be like, the government, like the head of your government there. Like, that's
all I know is his action figure was very hard to find when I was a kid.
Godzilla, misunderstood Earth conservationist. Yes.
Exactly. Even he became the good guy.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I guess it's not exactly a new thing. I mean, speaking of old man Hal, right? I mean, they did it to Hal Jordan back in the 90s, right? So
well, that's a different case. He was good. He got possessed. You know what I mean? He died and then he came back. So he was never bad and then good. He started off as a hero.
He like, before the retcon, it was his mind snapped, which you could understand. Like, he just went crazy is what happened back then.
Yeah, as a Green Lantern, or you could say that about a police officer. You can bring it more down to earth.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
all the
if
stuff they got to
everyone you
deal with
love
every day.
was instantly wiped off the planet, you don't know how you'd react.
Yeah. So that it just makes more sense. I hate it. I have a feeling they're going to continue to do it. They're going to give Black Adam the Harley Quinn treatment. and he's going to be this good guy. He's going to be leading, mark my words, he's going to be leading the Justice Society of America in future movies.
It
And-
doesn't make sense because he's basically Shazam, and Shazam didn't really take off for DC.
Yeah,
You know what
you're
I mean?
right. But I think because it's The Rock, people aren't not a diss on Zachary Levi, but no one's like packing the theater to see Zachary Levi. They're there to see a DC movie. But bring in The Rock, that's a whole nother story.
So,
this is something
real quick
me and
here.
my dad talked about. They would be like, it's going to bring balance to the Force with Anakin. I'm like, but isn't it only good Jedis now? Why would you want to bring balance?
Right. So, Tony, real quick, earmuffs, okay?
Yeah.
I agree with where you're going with this, Tim. I think it's really kind of strange the way DC is kind of like pinning all their hopes on like the Shazam and like Black Adam and all. It's a weird direction because you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's had its chance and it never really took off in a big way. Again, earmuffs, Tony. But
well, something we mentioned before you jumped on, we kind of think they're just doing it because of who's playing Black Adam.
Not necessarily the character.
That's
it.
The actor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But on the
Which
flip
makes
side
more
too,
sense.
they did inherit some. I mean, the new guy that's running this show, he inherited this stuff. This has already been in the works for
That's
years.
true.
So
We can't.
yeah.
I can't.
you can't throw it away because you spent too much money on it. So you have to embrace it and
He
roll
did
with
throw a lot away.
But I mean, if he was making decisions, at least from what I'm taking, and I love to say DZ in charge of DC, but at least the way that I'm interpreting what DZ is saying is, and I do agree with this. We have people like Batman is Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent is Superman, Diana Prince is Wonder Woman. Everyone knows this. Why are you wanting to change that? That doesn't make sense, I mean, people that don't know comic books know those facts. And I think that might be a good way to look at it, to take it out of the people in the industry. You have to look at it from a broader perspective. And I'm hoping that's what he'll eventually do.
Well, I agree. I hope that's the direction they take. I hope someone at DC comes to their senses because there's word on the street that Shazam, Zachary Levi, might never cross paths with Black Adam, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That would be a huge mistake.
That would be so dumb. So dumb. Because even in that little sneak peek trailer that The Rock was giving this narration about, he calls out Shazam in the thing. He's like, Shazam won't see it coming, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And that would just be a huge waste. Imagine Batman and the Joker had two separate movies for the first time. These people have never been on a movie before, and they never see each other.
Yeah, big mistake.
Huge mistake. It'd be so dumb. But hopefully, someone at DC, hopefully now this merger took place, someone can correct the ship that's veered way off course. It seems like no one really cared for a while.
Well, I think people had their own agendas, and they weren't willing to see beyond the agenda that they were pushing. And if the answer that someone was giving them, and someone, maybe it's the public by not attending these movies. If the answer is, we don't like this, that wasn't an acceptable answer because that goes against their agenda.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is in the comic side. Like, I was thinking about Scott Snyder, it's like, since the days of Jeff Johns, they sort of pin everything on one creator, it seems like. The creator. And Jeff Johns did good until about halfway through New 52. Then it's like, oh, let's jump on the Snyder. And, it's...
Mm-hmm. Well, John's got to check into Hollywood, and then, that was bigger bucks. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of cool stuff coming out, Green Lantern, you posted that article about the Green Lantern Corps finishing up the season finale. This article says, no relation to that one, that season finale might turn into a series finale.
Really?
Yeah, because things are getting canceled, move around, obviously, because it's a new thing going on with DC. The things that were already in production by a certain date, they're going to let ride and they cancel. And it sounds like Green Lantern Corps and everything else before that is probably getting the axe.
Do you know who is the main lantern in Green Lantern Corps?
Sounds like there are several lanterns that are the main lantern.
It was John,
Any from Earth?
Alan, Yeah,
Yes.
John, Alan, Jessica, and Guy, right?
Simon Boz.
Simon.
Yeah. It sounds like it's going to be
Wow.
what's that show? Where it's not really on one person, it's about several different stories
Like-
within an episode.
but-
I forget what it is.
But like the Green Lantern Corps comic.
Yeah,
Back
but
in the
there's a
day?
TV show. There's a TV show out now, and I forget what it is, where it focuses on several
Like an
people.
anthology or something.
Yeah, like an
The
anthology.
Kardashians?
Yeah, yep, that's it. Green Lantern Corps and the Kardashians, like, of course, they go together. Of course, like spaghetti and peanut butter. But it sounds like that's what they're going to do. They're going to give it the Swamp Thing treatment. Put all this money in this beautiful production that everyone's going to love, and then peace. Hopefully not. Hopefully that's just word on the street, or maybe it is true, and then maybe they're going to see the success of it and revive it somehow. We'll see. This is all pretty heavy spec at this point, but given the state of DC and what they do to good things, I wouldn't be surprised if this got a one and done season.
It's
And what-
stupid. They're missing a critical time right now. I think we haven't had that many movies in the last few years, right? Like people are like begging for good entertainment. And I don't know if you guys have been watching the latest Marvel stuff. It hasn't been great at all, right? Like this would have been the prime opportunity for DC to swoop in and be like, all right, this is what you guys have been looking for. And they just didn't do it.
I think I watched one episode of Moon Knight and was like, nope, I'm out. Can't
Well,
do it. Don't care.
I think Moon Knight, you got to know a little bit about the character to be really invested into it.
Did you see the dancing hippo?
I saw it on YouTube.
1995 CGI. Like it
Really?
was. I could not believe it. It was so bad.
I don't like that kind of like people in your head, like body switching or any kind of that kind of stuff. It's just hard.
Like someone that's Tim becomes Tom.
Exactly.
That's why he doesn't like.
It's too close to home. It's too close to home.
It's too close.
This show should have been right up your alley, Tim.
Too much on the nose.
So do you guys know what today is?
The next DC superhero movies to theaters, I think, is Black Adam's all we have coming, right?
Yeah, Black
Only
Adam.
thing that's made.
We have the
There's stuff rumored like
Black
Shazam
Adam
and Aquaman 2.
Well, Super
Black
Pet,
Adam,
technically.
Yeah,
Super
Black Adam,
Wonder-
Flash, Aquaman
Wonder
2.
Woman.
Wonder Woman
Flash is
3
never
hasn't even
coming.
started.
Give up hope. Flash.
Wonder Woman 3 doesn't start filming until next summer.
But Lasso, what was your question? What's today?
You guys know what today is?
Superman Day.
Superman.
Give hope.
Yeah.
Superman Day. And to celebrate, we have 3 rounds of Superman trivia.
Let's
All
start
right.
one. I can do it.
Round?
Let's
do it.
start around.
All right.
Hey, real quick, let's
Mm-hmm.
pause to give the chat a chance to answer. But
Okay.
nobody look at the chat. We'll check it after we'll answer.
All right.
I
Like a
promise I
3-second
will not
pause.
look at the chat.
All right.
Yeah.
Chat's on a different screen. all
I say
blurred
that
out.
immediately, blurred out every answer.
All right. Who created Superman is your first question.
Like the.
And all you hot dogs should know this.
Yeah, I
you mean
know this.
Can I go?
You mean like the story or
Give the
the?
chat 2 more
or like-
seconds.
I want the name of the people that were the creators of
Okay.
Superman.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Siegel and Schuster.
That's one guess. Anyone else got anything else?
He's right.
That's Joe Schuster and is it Jerry
Jerry
Siegel?
Siegel.
Yeah.
Yep.
We pausing for the chat?
We got
Anyone
I
think it's
collect a
Laverne
lot
Shirley?
coming in.
Yeah. He was the
Dude,
first.
Lasso's like that terrible teacher that you had where like when you gave the answer,
yeah.
he just like does not break. He doesn't like let you know that you got it or not.
We forget about the actual good side of DC movies. There is the Green Lantern movie coming out on DVD.
Well,
Blu-ray?
I think that
Yeah,
that
the
one was a
John
pretty easy question here, and I bet the chat, is probably caught up enough to say that yes, Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel are the creators of Superman.
Speaking
Here-
of those two, I'm going to tell this quick story real quick.
Yeah.
I was at Baltimore Comic Con 2016, and I'm chatting with Dan Jurgens. I'm at his table, and he's signing my stuff. And some guy with a little fancy ticket that means he gets to go in front of me has this book. I forget what it is. Return to Superman, foil cover, whatever. It was when he got it signed when I think it was one of those two, whatever the last one was to pass, signed it. I forget which one it was. He came up, signing the book, he noticed that, hey, one of these guys signed the book. Like, hey, do you want to put a couple of bucks in the Hero Initiative, because the charity goes for guys like this. They invented this type of charity, so they can help each other out. He snatches his book back. He says, no. He just walks away, and Dan's like, yo, what? Get back here. Like, yeah. You're putting something in this jar. I don't care if it's $1, but like the Hero Initiative, I guarantee you that guy would be rolling in his grave if you didn't put at least $1 in that jar.
It shows as a fan.
He kept
how do you not know what happened to those guys? They lived in poverty for so long and all that.
Yeah.
To not care.
Well, my second question is much tougher than the first one.
All right. Kryptonite.
What super villain? Okay. What super villain decided to become a hero after battling Superman?
Super villain decided
to become a hero after battling Superman. So somebody was a villain. They battled Superman and said, "Whoa, I'm not a villain anymore. I'm going to be a good person."
Just because he fought Superman. I don't know who that would be.
I think this question's before my time. So.
Does anyone in the chat? I know we got a chat delay going, but does anyone in the chat have any answers?
That's why I said 3 seconds before we answer, because by the time we answer, they've already typed if they got it. I'm thinking is this like is this from an old comic, Lasso?
This is from Bronze/Copper Age.
I have a guess. I'll just throw it out there from Bronze Justice League. Ultra.
Who?
That's what I'm going to go with. Ultra with 2 A's, I believe.
Bizarro.
I'm going to go with Red Tornado.
Tornado.
Those are really
That's a good guess.
Guesses.
That's a good guess.
Those are good guesses.
Old Man Hal and I collect a lot. That's really good.
Tony?
Man, I can't. I have no idea. I can't guess.
Okay, so Tony guessed Shazam.
Okay. It was Wonder Woman.
The correct answer is, what supervillain decided to become a hero after battling Superman? My favorite, Ambush Bug.
Oh, really?
Okay. Wow.
All right.
Okay, here's
That's
another
close.
easy one. We did
Yeah, you were
easy,
close.
hard. We'll go back to easy. At least I think this one should be easy, okay? What is Clark Kent's middle name?
Oh, I know this one.
I know it.
I know
I
it.
believe. Let's give the chat a chance, and then I'll let Tony answer.
1 Mississippi.
I'm going to let Tony answer before I
Two
guess.
chimpanzee.
Okay, my official guess is Clark Joseph Kent.
I'm gonna say Henry.
I was going to say Henry, too.
Oh,
That's
that's
what
weird.
I think.
What is the chat saying?
oh man.
Let's see what the
I
chat-
swear it's Joseph.
Henry came to my mind first, too, Tim. So,
Yeah,
but it could.
Yeah.
I don't know where I got Joseph. If that's not, if that's not
But
right,
Joseph
I have no
sounds
clue.
totally
Yeah,
believable.
yeah.
like,
When you said Joseph, I'm like, huh.
Anyone in the chat have anything
Oh.
different?
Here's
What's,
another good.
We got a Jonathan.
I was
Oh,
going to
man.
say Jonathan. What's
That's-
Pa Kent's name? Yeah. There
that's
you
a
go.
good.
It could be John. I'm going with
I
Henry.
will say that we have heard the correct answer.
Okay.
It's
I'm
gotta be
still
Henry.
leaning
He
towards
was so
Henry,
short.
but any of those wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
Clark?
I think they're all good guesses.
Yeah.
Clark Joseph Kent.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
All right.
Oh, and I'm retiring. I'm logging out, guys. Good night.
Yeah.
And our last question for this round, but we have more rounds coming up. For this round, this is a good one. Who was Superman's first supervillain that he fought?
I think I
Ooh.
know. I'm gonna answer this after we give the chat a chance. I think I know.
Man, wow, that is a good one. I don't have a guess. I can't.
Okay, we'll put Tony down for Shazam.
If I
Okay.
get this right,
I'm-
I'll give credit to who I believe told me this. If
Okay.
I'm right, I won't stain his name if I'm wrong.
And anything from the chat coming in yet?
Yep, we have Parasite by Connor,
Mm-hmm.
that can't
Lex
be right.
Luthor by Gene Malo.
Milo Cups.
We'll give it a couple more seconds. Oop. This
There's
is
another
my.
one.
I'm gonna say it. This is my guess right here. This is who I was gonna say. Old
That's
Man Hal.
Anything else?
Tony and Dave, you got a guess?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Wonder Woman again.
I'll go with Brainiac.
That's a
Brainiac,
good choice.
one.
I don't know if that's right, but that sounds like
I think
could
Old
be
Man
legit.
Hal has it.
Take
Yeah.
take a bow. Take a bow if you guess the correct answer. Ultra Humanite.
Yeah.
And I'll
And
give
that
credit
happened-
where credit's due. Way
That
back when
happened
Oh,
in
go ahead.
Action Comics number 13. So that meant Superman went a year before he
Yeah.
ever started battling a supervillain.
Way back when I first started Phantom Zone with Retro Tigo and Super Russ, one of our first guests, he came on our show too, was King of Comicdom. Well, we reviewed Action Comics 1, and he just told me a whole bunch of Golden Age facts. And that was one of them that stuck in my head. Because, I mean, that was a big villain back in the day, but not someone you see a lot nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Man, those
Very-
guys
very
that have
good
been
trivia.
collecting like a super long time that are like real assets in the community. Like I just envy a lot of their just like
yeah.
knowledge like about the stuff. Like I'm gonna use
Yeah.
the one that as Metarog an example. Like I have a comic book question. I guarantee you Metarog's like, oh, it's boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and he's
Don't even
nice.
think about it. And he's
Yeah.
incredibly nice guy.
He'll
Super
tell you
nice
about
guy.
a comic book that came in a bag of, frosted flakes from the 70s.
Yep.
He'll tell you about the variations of that, how many issues there
Yep.
are. Yeah, that's
It's just
awesome.
a treasure trove of knowledge.
He
Someday.
he might even tell you how many raisins were in the Raisin Bran.
Well, I think it's time we head into the
I think
retro
he would be
review.
the type to count too.
So I
Sorry,
say
Tim.
we do an issue, more trivia, hit the second issue, and then maybe we'll do trivia after we shot everything out to end the show. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Cool. Yeah.
Can I kick off the retro review?
Sure. Let me pull it up.
You want to tell everyone what we're doing?
Yes, we are reviewing a story that was actually what brought this up to me was Dave didn't recognize this villain. And I'm like, well, hey,
It's my
I
fault.
love his stories in the JLA run. This is written by Grant Morrison back when to me, Morrison's 50-50. He either writes some cosmic story you can't understand, or he gives you a gem and a villain. This isn't this villain's first appearance, but it is his first interaction with the broader DC universe, as we're going to see. So let me jump on over, and I'll let you take it away, Ryan.
All right. So our story is starting out apparently 3 months later from the previous issue. And we have Lois Lane, and she's putting the finishing touches on her makeup. And she's talking about the fact that she found one of those letters that her younger self wrote to her older self. And she kind of wishes she could write a letter back to her younger self saying, look what I've accomplished. I bet you never thought in a gazillion years that I'm a Pulitzer Prize winner, that I'm married to Clark Kent, who happens to be Superman, and all three of us have been invited to the moon for dinner. What are my other classmates? Who's accomplished something like that? Then we cut to Kat Grant, and she's being notified that she's got 5 minutes before her flight's taking off. We cut back to Lois, and we see Martian Manhunter behind her. And he's getting ready to morph. She doesn't want to watch that because it kind of weirds her out, she says. And who's he morphing into? He's morphing into Clark Kent, which, of course, is to keep up the illusion, because Superman's going to be up in the JLA satellite, and Clark Kent needs to be there as well. So now we cut to television, a live feed there with Amanda Trellis, who's talking about how the Justice League had disbanded, and they're calling a press conference to announce the new lineup. And they also did a contest where one member will win a 24-hour membership into the Justice League. And that was someone named Retro. He was the nationwide Join the JLA for a Day contest winner.
This is the retro review.
Yes, literally. So we cut now to the JLA monitor, and we have Batman up there, and he's keeping track of everything that's going on. Essentially, they're getting ready to take all these reporters and beam them up into the JLA satellite for this press conference that they're going to have, and there's going to serve lunch and everything. So the reporters are being beamed up, and as they arrive in the watchtower, we have boom, Superman, and of course this is Superman Blue.
So can we pause here for one moment?
Yeah.
So this is a part of collecting where I think I'd gone off to college or something. I was not collecting, right?
Mhm.
What is the deal again with the blue and the red Superman?
He
Does
got,
anybody know?
I forget exactly how it happened. He, I believe after he came back from the dead, when he was still Mullet Superman, he started gaining power and couldn't stop. I forget the exact reasons behind it. And
And
in
did the
that
power
process, he split
did the
into two.
energy split?
Hmm.
Did
Huh?
the energy split into two?
Yeah, like I'm sure you guys have seen covers in the dollar bin where he's growing bigger. He split from that into red and blue, and it's a homage to old like goofy Silver Age stories. But he does eventually reconstitute back together. But for a while, I think like a year or so, our time, he was split into two, and the
Yeah.
blue one was in the Justice League, but the red one wasn't.
Yeah.
Were they both
So-
good?
They're both
Yeah.
good.
They ever worked together?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They fought. I think it was the Millennial Giants was a big deal, and I think that was like the big crossover near the end of that. Like you'll see the issues, they all connect and they go upwards, like these giants, and you see the red and blue like flying around it. It's pretty cool.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've read it, so I forget the exact details, but that's a good gist of how that all happened.
Okay.
So-
All right.
So
Okay.
we have-
Sorry to interrupt. It's just it always seems to come up. Like, what's the deal with the blue Superman? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we have Superman up in the Watchtower. Not only has he welcomed the invited guests from the media up there, he's welcoming Retro, who is their winner, for JLA member for the day. And he introduces Retro as well as their esteemed guest, ladies and gentlemen, the Justice League of America. So there we see that it's Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, Plastic Man, Green Lantern, which is Kyle, Zoriel, Huntress, Superman, and Steel. And incidentally, the Wonder Woman is Hippolyta, is the Hippolyta version of Wonder Woman.
Such a cool version of the league. I love this league.
Yeah. So they proceed into the boardroom where they talk about there's chairs for everyone, but they also have a floating chair, which they'll use for a specialist superhuman that they may need to call in for an emergency situation. And that day it belongs to Retro because he is the contest winner. Retro at that point kind of is asking, is there a bathroom that I can use? So he's going to be directed to that. Lois, of course, needs some questions for, she needs a scoop in interview, and she's wondering if there's going to be a Q&A section. And essentially, Steel is showing Retro to where the restroom is. And he's asking about the trees that he's seeing through this window. And he's being explained that these forests produce the oxygen that supply the Watchtower. And Retro wants to take a closer look at what's going on. He wants to take a look at. He's looking more at the weapon that he's holding, and Steel takes a look at it. The weapon electronically energizes his nightstick, and it's affecting Steel, and he's screaming out in pain, what's going on? That's the essential question. The next page, we realize Batman, who's overseeing everything, he knows something is wrong. Something just isn't going on, and Superman's like, I hear you. And he's still trying to keep us cool and everything, refreshments are on the table, ladies and gentlemen. He knows he has to get some more information, and he doesn't want to create a panic. So we see this Retro is sitting down at this computer, and he's like, okay, one down, and now Secrets of the Watchtower. And he laughs. And as I wrap up my half of this issue, we get a nice map on the next page of the layout of the Watchtower, which is really cool. You can see where everything is located in
Oh, that's
what
neat.
is.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I have one question though about this.
Yeah.
And that is number 11.
Hold on here.
Why do they need a reception area on the moon? Who's coming to visit?
So,
Just saying.
reception,
I didn't
I
even notice that.
just for this issue, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's see. They're all right here.
Where else would you serve your refreshments at?
I guess.
In the used water
Well,
container, I guess.
I have the
What-
perfect answer for it. for when they meet the Justice Society for their
There you go.
yearly visits.
There you go.
All right, someone take it away because I've done half.
I don't mind. Who wants it?
I can take it.
All right.
All right. So so at this point, this Prometheus retro character puts on this helmet, and he's like, on his helmet, there's a place for him to insert the CD-ROM like disc thing, and in doing so, it gives him like the knowledge straight into his brain. So he just copied the blueprints of the station and has now loaded them into his brain. At this point, Martian Manhunter catches him in the act and is like, whoa, you need to come with me now. And this guy's like, yeah, I don't think so. I've already he's put like increased oxygen content in the air, shoots a phosphorus dart at Martian Manhunter because he already knows that Martian Manhunter is susceptible to fire damage. So he lights the Martian Manhunter on fire. Then he shoots him with this other dart that basically causes his molecules to not be able to assemble properly. So his shape shifting, and he basically turns into this pile of goo. One down. And here we go. So then he goes back to the gardens which again, these things, it's this garden on the moon that is providing the oxygen source for the watchtower. And he says it's like a Garden of Eden, but he shoots a rocket at it and he lights it on fire. There's already a lot of oxygen in there, so it burns quite nice. And in doing so, it's also burning up the trees, which are renewing the oxygen for the station, which is going to become a problem, as we are going to see here. So back in the main area of the watchtower where the press is and all, they hear the sound of this explosion happening in the garden, and they're looking at their monitors and realizing that the hydroponic generators are on fire. They have a problem. They're going to run out of oxygen. And additionally, the press sees it as well. They're already starting to clutch for their throat and stuff. They're being a little dramatic so soon, I think. But again, fire is burning, so I guess it could be using up the oxygen pretty quick. At this point, let's see, where do we go from here? Again, Superman, the Justice League, they're trying to allay the fears of the reporters right now and say, don't worry, you're with the most powerful people on Earth. We got this. Huntress finds Retro messing with the controls. She tries to stop him and says, hey, what did you just do with Zoriel, the one with the wings? And they didn't show it, but I guess he teleported her to the ghost zone or something. He calls it something like that. The ghost zone. And she's basically in this house, which is his house, actually, floating on a rock in space. Okay. And as we learn, Zoriel is in there and realizes that it's actually limbo where this structure is in, that he's trapped in. All right, over to the Justice League again. We've got Kyle Rayner and Wally teaming up. They're going to go check out what's going on with John. We've got the Huntress is still fighting Retro. And but he's got he says, I bet you don't know why I've been using such a monotone voice this whole time. It's because I've been slowly hypnotizing you so that she is unable to attack him. So basically what he's doing is he's slowly taking out member by member of the Justice League, and he knows how to defeat each of their vulnerabilities, I guess. So through hypnosis, he defeats the Huntress. At that point, Batman shows up, and remember, Batman was already kind of like wise that something was up with this Retro guy. He says he's seen what you've been doing. It's over. Another cool thing I want to point out here, I say all the time on my channel how much I love the blue and the gray Batman, but I gotta say this splash right here, seeing the black on black suit Batman from the 90s, it was kind of cool. I did enjoy it. Brought me back to those old movies. All right, so Retro is talking to the Batman here and basically saying, yeah, you think you can defeat me? See this little disc here? I've got 30 of the world's greatest martial arts masters lessons right here on this thing. And actually one of them is Batman's. So he inserts it, and now he is basically able to take on the Batman head on. So again, Superman and Wonder Woman are still trying to appease the press here, keep them calm. And that's where we realize that that this character, this retro guy, it's actually not retro at all. It's this guy named Prometheus. So as Tim mentioned, I was unfamiliar with this character until now, but he had taken over the body of this retro guy that won the contest, right? And so meanwhile, Aquaman then decides that he is going to try to handle the fire situation to prolong their oxygen supply. He's going to head down to the deep water tanks and see if he can't reroute it into the sprinkler system to put out the fire. So he goes off to do that. Wally and Kyle go off on their own to go see what's up with this Prometheus guy, and they run across him. At this point, Prometheus says, all right, so I've already taken down, what is it, the Wing Dude, Huntress, and Steel. And now he's going to take down Kyle and Barry. So he tells, or Wally, he tells Wally that he has put bombs all around the area that are motion activated. So if you move faster than a normal human can, the whole place is going to explode. So the Flash cannot use his powers. He's also putting forth something that is causing Kyle to lose focus so that he loses his willpower and is unable to control his ring. So in classic Kyle Rayner fashion, at least this time he didn't lose his ring, but he is still unable to actually utilize the world's most powerful weapon that is on his hand. This is like the third or fourth story we've read where this happens. Can we get Hal Jordan back, please?
He took down the whole league, and you're just focusing on Kyle.
Listen, I feel like Kyle Rayner needs to be on one of those performance pills for men because of all the performance issues that Kyle Rayner's been having.
Tim, seriously, like every Kyle issue you've picked for us, something goes wrong with his ring.
His ring falls off. This one, he just can't concentrate, and we don't even know why.
Yeah.
It's just there's something that's causing him to lose focus. That's like, well, what? I haven't seen one pretty lady, so in a couple of issues, remember that he was so distracted by this person's beauty, he loses focus. Yeah. That's funny. Tim, do you want me to start? I can start if you want. It's up to you. I don't care.
All right, so do another round of trivia.
Yeah, we're ready for some more trivia.
Oh yeah.
So it's Superman trivia for Superman Day today. Your first trivia question for this round: who did Superman fight in the first Marvel DC crossover?
Ooh, I know. I think.
Yeah, I
wait.
know.
You said we couldn't look at the chat, but you didn't say I couldn't look at my books. I think I know.
I feel like we reviewed this one too.
Yes.
I feel like this is a trick question, so I'm probably going to get it wrong.
Okay, I think we waited long enough. My guess is I'm guessing Thor.
I'm guessing
Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
We have a Thor, Hulk, and Spider-Man guesses. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then the chat. I see Thor. I see Doom as a guess.
Because of how you phrased it, the first Marvel DC crossover, that could be the first time they crossed over in publishing.
True.
Or you could be referring to the actual crossover.
It would be Spider-Man then, huh?
So so that I'm taking a guess on that.
Yeah.
The answer is
clarify.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Okay.
Recount.
I was thinking that was a tricky question, so I went out on a limb on it.
Yeah. Superman, Spider-Man was their first crossover.
All right, here we go. What does gold kryptonite do to Superman?
Oh, jeez. Dang, I feel like I would know this too.
Let me give the
I got
chat a
nothing.
chance. I'm gonna make a guess.
I got nothing.
It's 50-50 on my part. It's either what gold does or black does.
Okay.
I don't even know what black does.
It takes his powers away.
Okay.
I believe one of those takes his powers away, but it could be silver too. So a
There's
1 in
so-
3 shot.
Okay, Tim's just blown my mind with all these colors that I've never heard of. But
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's either he turns to like a human, or it's like intoxicating for him.
That's a good guess, actually. That's a good guess. I got nothing.
So you're saying
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
But actually, I think isn't there a kryptonite that changes your gender, so we'll count that as a.
Gosh.
Kryptonite pink turns him
hey,
to
Yeah.
favor.
there is pink kryptonite, and it does affect him some way.
Yeah, it attracts him to the opposite team, so to speak.
It attracts him to his same sex.
Yeah,
Okay.
Is
all
this
right.
real?
totally
Yes.
real.
Yeah.
Totally real.
Is this
But
new?
the answer
No.
is,
Not new.
what does gold kryptonite do to Superman? Takes away his powers forever.
Okay.
Oh, forever.
I knew it was one of those 3, but it's
Yep.
been you rarely see them, so it's hard to remember.
Well, how
So
could you use the gold when it takes away his powers forever? You wouldn't have any more stories, you know?
Oh, I know they. Well, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure they've done it and found a way around it.
Okay.
You know.
Here's your next question. I'm talking the Richard Donner Superman film here, okay? So in that movie, Superman the movie, what is Superman's response to Margot Kidder's Lois Lane, who says, Who are you?
I have no idea.
I,
Not very
I've
good at trivia,
famously
mate.
said I haven't seen those movies since I was a kid, so I have no idea.
I got nothing.
So
Dave's
Tony's
our only
Wonder
chance,
Woman.
and we got the
Wonder
chat.
Woman.
Yeah,
Someone who cares, or someone
Oh, that's a.
who loves you,
That's actually.
something like
Yeah,
that,
those are-
right?
Do we have
A
any? I
friend.
don't see any chat guesses.
Oh,
He says a friend.
A friend.
Gene
Yeah,
says
yeah.
a friend.
Gene says a
I
friend,
Gene's
okay.
answer.
I think the answer might be Wonder Woman.
Knowing Lasso, one of these has to be the answer, so you're gonna get it right.
No,
I'll
someone
give
who
you
loves
one.
Star Wars. It's a friend. Yeah, it's a friend.
The correct answer is Mallow Cup's got it, a friend.
I was
All
close.
right.
And our last question for this round before we continue the retro review. What actor named his son Kal-El?
Oh, wait.
I think I know this.
Yeah, I think I do
That's what
too.
you say to
I
all
might.
of them.
Wait,
That's
you gotta
true.
reset.
Yeah, I have no
I
idea.
think you broke up on. I paused. I didn't hear the question.
Okay.
I was lagging.
What actor named his son Kal-El?
What actor?
Yeah, I don't know this answer, but from what I know of this person, I would guess this person.
I bet I know who Tim's gonna guess.
Yeah.
I think it's the same guess as me.
Jedi
ComicFoo.
says food.
ComicFoo, you're right.
Just the BTW. I seem to be breaking up if I don't respond.
Yeah,
So.
you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I was
That's
thinking.
that's
too.
me and.
But does he
I
have a
collect
kid?
Last guess.
Several.
Oh, yeah, Nicolas Cage.
Keeps him in a cage.
Tim, what are you going with?
Yeah, I'll go with Nick Cage. That's who I would guess.
Really? Because Tim, I thought you were gonna say Kevin Smith. Because he has a
There-
daughter named Harley Quinn.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna change my answer just to cover the bases. Jerry Seinfeld.
You can't do
He's a
that.
huge Seinfeld fan.
Seinfeld? Jerry
Superman
Seinfeld.
But he doesn't have kids, does he?
Yeah, he's
I
got a
don't know.
daughter. He's got a daughter. Jerry
Really?
Seinfeld. Yeah, his daughter's pretty.
Just to be
pretty
different
popular.
and cover bases, I'll say Jerry Seinfeld.
Born on October 3rd, 2005,
Oh.
Kal-El Cage, son of Nicolas Cage.
That's awesome.
Now, why didn't he? I don't know.
So his name is Cal Cage. Like that's
His name should be Luke Cage.
Luke Cage.
Yeah.
So like when he goes to school, you know what I mean? Like your friends don't call you your full, including your middle name. Like, hey, Cal-El. They call him Cal, and like everyone's gonna know him as Cal Cage, not Kal-El.
Cage. Yeah.
So there's more trivia. One more round of Superman trivia coming up, but right now we segue back into the retro review.
You want to start it or end it, Tony?
I'll start it because it makes me laugh. We talk about more performance issues that the Green Lantern has, but that's okay. Oh man. So Superman and the civilians are going through the watchtower, and they get to the villain gallery, and that's where they kind of sit. We're gonna cut back to Batman. Remember, he's laying on the floor. He's kind of beaten.
Do you know who this guy with the long hair is, or what group he's a part of?
It looked like Lobo at first. I was looking at that.
I see Starro.
Starro.
He's part of the Extremist, the guy with the long tentacles. That's one of my favorite groups from the 80s Justice League.
Interesting. But yeah, so Batman's beaten. Steel is beaten. Martian Manhunter's a pile of puke on the floor. That's what it looks like. It looks like he's turned into Swamp Thing. And right now he's incapacitated the Flash and Kyle Rayner, where he then reveals himself. Who am I? I am Prometheus, which is pretty cool. And I love how he's turning his back to Kyle Rayner and Wally West, and he's just like, you know what, like, I could just shoot you right now and just put you to mercy. And he's like, you know what, I think I will. So he shoots Kyle Rayner. Boom. A Green Lantern with the most powerful weapon in the universe just gets shot. Just, which I thought was funny. And the Flash can't do anything either because he can't use any speed. So why not? He'll just shoot the Flash too, just and be done with it.
The Green Lantern rings, like, doesn't it just provide the energy shield around them by default? Like, I don't even think it takes their willpower to produce it. Like, what's going on, Kyle?
It does and it doesn't. I mean, Sinestro Corps members killed Green Lanterns in surprise, so I'm sure your willpower has something to do with it.
Yeah, but he did it with a dart.
Yeah, he did it with just a bullet. I don't make sense for a lantern to do it to another lantern. You know what I mean?
Well, how about this? If the ring's controlled by willpower and you believe you can be shot.
Oh.
So he's a terrible lantern anyway, is what you're saying. Like,
no.
Oh, jeez.
That's what I heard.
Takes a bullet and keeps on ticking.
I wouldn't go that far.
I can't even see you guys because I'm doing the comic, so it's
Nice.
like I'm talking to the comic.
Nice. We cut to the villain gallery, and like things are popping over, and Prometheus kind of pops out, and he's like, "Oh, here I am. Like, this is all part of the plan that I have, and you're all part of it." Cut back to Flash and Green Lantern. They're actually going to be okay. Batman's like, "Listen, you donut. Like, it's just a flesh wound. Like you're going to live."
I didn't.
He does.
If Batman's alive.
Yeah, they forgot to even check on Batman, and then when he finally gets up, he's like, "It's a flesh wound. Come on."
Yeah, he's like, "You're going to be fine, bro. Like, it missed all. It's literally you're going to get." He even says it right here. It's going to leave a scar, and that's it. Like, you're going to be fine. Which I thought was funny.
And once he tells them that he's gonna be okay, they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, all of a sudden it's no big deal. So they make their way over to the Oracle's room, and they're getting ready to quote, "We're gonna need a miracle." We cut to Steel, who's, remember, he's under some kind of, like, not mind control, but someone's controlling the suit, and it's making him do things he doesn't want to do. So I was feeling Thor vibes on here, and you'll see why. Yeah. So he takes part of what whoever's controlling him, what they wanted to do is he's going to take his hammer and he's going to chuck it through this glass or this wall or something. And right as he does that, who pops around the corner? Plastic Man. And he's like one of the
Just been
weirdest
AWOL the
lines
whole
ever.
story.
Steel meet eel. And
I didn't quite get that line.
I didn't either. Really, really corny. But I love the
His
way they
name's
draw him.
Eel.
Whenever
What's
I see
that?
Plastic Man, I feel like I'm watching a Ren and Stimpy cartoon, an old school Ren and Stimpy cartoon.
Yeah.
So they throw the hammer, it gets stuck in Plastic Man's like guts, and finally, Steel is somehow to regain control of his armor and his suit, and he recalls the hammer. Super Thor fashioned. We go back to the villain gallery, and Prometheus is like talking about this big plan that he's coming to, and I forget what panel it is, but they actually specifically mention that Steel's hammer should be coming through this wall literally any minute now, and obviously that doesn't happen.
It was the one I just went by.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Right here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just thought that was pretty cool. Like, he thought about exactly what he was going to do. Keep in mind, because he had the schematics uploaded to his helmet or his brain. I'm not sure how this dude works. And they're all talking about, like, what's going on? Like, what's your plan? What are you trying to do here? And Superman was able to, I've just scanned your armor. One electromagnetic pulse would take out your entire computer system. And even Prometheus said, that's true, but like, what are you going to do? Like, you're Superman. You don't have any like super electrical abilities. And we cut to Aquaman. He's down, what I assume to be the sewers. And he's finally like trying to open up some kind of valve. And that's where I'll let Tim take over.
So yeah, basically he's like telling Superman he has to kill himself, and that's the only way he'll spare everybody. And Superman's like, I don't trust you. Well, right about that time, the sprinklers kick in, which throws Prometheus off, and he starts talking about his parents were killed, he was traumatized, and that's when Lotus notices something. There's like a Cat Grant mask laying on the ground, and that's when we hear so you're just another poor little mommy's boy. And we have Catwoman, and she starts telling him about the bullwhip, that the tip cracked accelerates to 1,100 feet per second, the speed of sound. She hits him with it. Well,
right where you don't want to get hit.
Yeah. He flips out and goes to shoot her, and we get a cool scene where it's about to go in her eye, and the Huntress hits it with a arrow. And that's when you could it's like you could see his helmet malfunctioning, and he's like, too much data flooded me after fighting Batman. And then Steel shows up, and he said he's took his armor over. And we see the whole Justice League coming around him. So Prometheus is like, I'm just going to, boom out of here. And that's what he does. He goes back home. So we go to the Ghost Zone, and we see he's also forgot about Zoriel. So all of this info he could automatically download into his brain has a price. The plan, this perfectly calculated plan he had, one blip and it threw everything off to where he was forgetting about Justice Leaguers and so forth. So he immediately sends Zoriel back. And that's basically the end of this story. We just get the wrap up. Them thanking Catwoman and deciding not to arrest her. Batman telling her to put back the, Storm Opals from Ran. And then a boom tube shows up. And if you guys remember the very first issue of this story, it was teasing a new lineup, which we were introduced to. But we're going to get more members for the main lineup going forward. And we have Tachyon showing up with Big Barda and Orion, basically saying, we believe they're going to be needed here, so we're leaving them here with you. They do play big parts in stories coming up.
So they're basically pseudo Justice League members.
And man, the next time you see Zoriel, what we see right here, or I'm sorry, Prometheus, his helmet being put in their trophy room plays such a big part. One of the most baddest things Batman ever does. Google it. I don't want to spoil it. If you don't have the books, get them or Google it. What Batman does is freaking awesome. And, they're talking about they need to get stronger, shore up everything. And this proved how, weak they were. And here's the big splash of the official lineup of the Justice League going forward at that point. And that is the end. Real quick before we give our scores, I want to talk about Prometheus real quick. I mentioned he shows up again in this version of the Justice League. He played a huge part near the end, right before New 52. Has anyone ever seen Arsenal missing an arm?
Yes.
Having like a mechanical arm? Prometheus played a huge part in that, to the point where the entire Justice League, specifically Hal and Ollie, Green Arrow, wanted to hunt him down and put him down permanently, no matter what the other heroes had to say. If you're interested, I'm sort of beating around the bush because I want anyone watching to go look these stories up. It would be Justice League Cry for Justice. And then the miniseries after it, I actually forget the name of, but I'm sure you can find it. It heavily involves Green Arrow and Red Arrow and that afterwards. So look those stories up. They're fantastic.
Did we read that story?
No, we can in an upcoming thing. But yeah, it's a really good story. Shazam's in it, Tony.
All right, now you know it's
He's part of the league that Hal puts together, Hal and Green Arrow, to track down and kill Prometheus.
Nobody said Hal was perfect.
Look those stories up.
I did.
Really good. Really good stuff. He becomes a major player later on. And like I said, the second fight, which I believe happens around issue 25, Lex Luthor forms an Injustice League. Read that story and see what Batman does to Prometheus. It's so bad, like it's hilarious, but I don't want to spoil it. So with that being said, with me talking about how much I love this character, what did you guys think of the story? Let's go clockwise. And what's your score, Ryan? What'd you think?
I'm more of a Bronze Age, Copper Age guy. That's where my heart is. The 90s books for me aren't necessarily so much my favorite. I didn't have so much of a vested interest in this story. It doesn't mean that I don't appreciate it. I think someone that was collecting and reading at that time would feel a lot stronger. And I know that the JLA didn't have as many dramatic membership changes as like the Avengers would, where the Avengers could go maybe a year before they would dramatically shift the roster and have a big issue and to do about it. I wish Wonder Woman had been used a little bit more. I mean, I think you expect me to say that. There are some characters that I don't think don't get anything to do in this story. But I did like the fact that Catwoman shows up. Yeah. That was cool that Catwoman would be Cat Grant. I love that. Yeah. But I'm just going to go 2 out of 5.
And I don't know if you've read this series, Lasso, but Diana does come back. I'm sure you know what was going on with her at that time when she wasn't there. And there's a lot of really good Wonder Woman themed stories in this run.
She actually died, and Hippolyta was indirectly responsible for her death. So her penance was to become the Wonder Woman. That's how she had to pay for that. She had to be the Wonder Woman. So,
all right. So what did you think about it, Tony?
I thought it was an all right standalone story. I'm gonna have to agree with Lasso, but I'm gonna give it a little bit better score, 2.5 out of 5. Just because there were some parts in it that I thought were really funny. I don't know if they meant to be, but they're always really funny, especially when they make fun of Kyle Rayner. I always just get a tickle out of that because they do it every time, and it's the same thing.
It's only the stories Tim picks, though.
I know no one else is doing it. It's always him.
How highly I think of this run of JLA on this story, you could tell because I picked this story knowing I was going to get this flack ahead of time.
And
just
you
because
did.
I just wanted to talk about Prometheus and this Justice League run.
Yeah, I think Prometheus is a pretty interesting character. I was looking him up here, and there's a lot of weird stuff I didn't know about him. And this is a character I'm really not familiar with. So
he becomes a huge part.
Yeah,
Like I said, you got to read Cry for Justice and the tie-ins to that. Just look him up on the DC Universe, and I would read the next story he's in this series with the Legion of Doom. It has the return of Shaggy Man, a new Shaggy Man, Lex Luthor, Killer Queen Bee. It's fantastic. So
yeah, 2.5. I thought everything was pretty much expected. But to answer Paul S.'s question about the best Justice League, I'm gonna say it's Justice League Dark.
I like this run on the Justice League, and I love the Volume 2, the 80s, where you had Justice League America and Europe, the humor, just how different it was. So as far as series to read, those are my two favorite. I ain't going to pick a specific league because that's just hard to do.
So you're saying the Justice League doesn't have any Great Lakes Justice League or West Coast Justice League?
We do. We have a Detroit Justice League.
Detroit needs their own Justice League, and I'm okay with that because they need all the help they can get.
There's even a Justice League Antarctica.
That makes no sense.
I'm one of the few, I think, that actually enjoyed the Justice League International. I always thought that was
I like that too. That one was good. But 2 out of 5 for me. I'm good.
All right, Dave, what did you think?
These guys are rough. I liked it. I'll give it a 3.5. I thought it was really good. It was like I said, this was right at that period of time where I total black spot for me. Like I was not collecting, I wasn't reading. And I've gone back and collected some things, but this was totally new for me. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. I had a few questions around Superman and things like that, but it was nothing that took away from the story. So that was good. You could just come and pick it up and read. One of the complaints I would have is that Prometheus was one of those villains that likes to tell everybody what his big plans, right? In a big grandiose way. And so that was a little cheesy, but again, I mean, it was fine. It was fun. My biggest complaint about the book though, and this is huge, this is a big error in logic here. They made this big deal of explaining all of the seats around the Justice League's table, saying there's only one extra one, that's the floating seat. And then at the end of the second issue, they brought 2 of the new god in, and they don't have seats at the Justice League's table.
Someone's got to sit on the floor.
They didn't show Batman or Martian Manhunter either at that point.
That's true.
There you go. So I want to know who's sitting on the floor.
What if they have chairs in the closet? You know what I mean? Like temporary Justice League folding chairs. Like you bring out for holidays.
We need to know. Tony, next time you run into Grant Morrison to get his signature, you got to find this out.
Yeah, hey, listen, question about this issue.
So here's something interesting. So I'm with you, Tim. I think Grant Morrison's hit or miss, right?
Yeah.
But when he's a hit, they're some of my favorite stories, truly. Yeah. And I'm reading this, and I'm like, I'm really enjoying this story. I'm like, who wrote this? And I turn it on. I'm like, oh, it's Morrison. I was like,
he revitalized the Justice League because it really fell off at the end of the Justice League Europe America days. This is the volume right after those.
Yeah.
I will say he did have a penchant for just going super big to which, looks small compared to what they do in comics now with death metals. But man, he took the Justice League. Like I said, I put this up there with that 80s league as my favorite comics to read. For me, I give this a 4. I just love this series. I love a lot of the villains you see, like Prometheus, and this JLA run is near perfect. Apart from a lot of the stuff, all series are bogged down with tie-ins. I mean, you take those out, it's almost a near perfect run of just every story just gets better and better. So I can't recommend this series to anyone else. It actually starts off with the White Martians, the introduction of them in issue 1. And Batman's totally bad A against them too.
That's the first appearance of the White Martian?
First appearance of White Martians, JLA 1.
Did anybody catch the big Shazam reference in the first issue?
Mm-mm.
Huge Shazam reference. So they get to the Watchtower and all the media's crews there. You know how like they have this piece around the microphone with the station identifying? It was WHIZ Wiz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
All right, I say let's do trivia first, just for time,
Sure.
and then we could quickly shout out our channels and do a book show to wrap it up.
Yeah.
That's good.
So let's do it.
All right, this is our final round of trivia, and it's in honor of Superman Day, which is today. On the Superman and Lois TV show, which is the current running show on the CW network, what are the name of the twin boys, the characters' names?
Ooh, I don't know.
Didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either. Wonder Woman.
I should know this because I watched
Wonder and Woman.
Wonder and Woman.
I
Yeah.
watched almost the whole first season, but I can only think of the obvious one.
Everybody said it's good, but I couldn't make it past the first 20 minutes.
I haven't seen
Somehow.
20 minutes of it. I have seen nothing.
Wow.
It's the most mature superhero show
You think so?
Really?
CW's ever made.
The
See,
whole
Hold on.
premise. Just
I can't trust your
Fucking
opinion because you didn't like
There it
Batwoman.
is. I was thinking, I won't pop this up yet, but it's been answered in the chat. I couldn't think of the first one this person says.
Wonder why they decided to go that.
So-
Okay.
Are you? So I'll pop up the chat. First, we had Shannon come in.
Yep.
Jordan and John. Paul S. got it.
Yeah, Jonathan and Jordan.
Connor was off by one. I was thinking it was two J names too, but couldn't think of Jordan.
Yep, Jordan. I figured most people would get
Yeah.
Jonathan, but would they get Jordan? So
I'm way behind on the show, but that's not because I dislike it. I thought I had a little bit of a slow start, but it's by far, I think, the most adult-friendly show, meaning it's not made for teenage girls on the CW.
Really?
Yeah.
The
Not
first
saying it don't
episode
have
did not give that vibe.
Not saying it don't have its drama. I'm saying it's the most adult. for the
Oh,
show.
okay.
Yeah.
you got a 50-50 guess on this one. It's a true or false question. True or false? Clark Kent's social security number in the comic books is a real number of someone who passed away.
True.
Wonder Woman.
I'm gonna say true.
I say true.
I'll go false, I guess.
Okay, we'll let see if the chat give them a minute to chime in if that's a true or false, and I'll repeat it too. Clark Kent's social security number in the comics is a real social security number of someone who passed away. True
See,
or false?
I feel like it has to be true because if it was false, that wouldn't make it much of a trivia. You know what I
the
mean? Like,
question wouldn't be
And
here.
if it is true, so social security numbers, the first several digits will actually say not only when you were born, but where.
yes.
So is it accurate to Kansas?
Hmm. I would almost think they would
Cool.
give it to one of the creators post-death, would be my guess.
Born before Social Security. Who is that old?
All right, so what's the answer, Ryan?
The answer we really need to ask Giobata Belushi because it's his social security number. It's true.
Huh.
Wow.
And the number, in case you're wondering, is 092096615.
It is. It's not Kansas, but I know the state that it is. And
It's like Iowa or something.
no,
Because
it's Ohio.
technically they adopted him, so he may not have came from Kansas in the papers. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Landed there. Oh,
But
that would be
I'm saying
silly
the
if-
Kents adopted him,
Yeah.
so how they would have did the paperwork, he could have came from a state around there.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, 2 more questions left. Earlier, we were talking about Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel. How much money did Siegel and Schuster sell Superman's rights for in 1938?
Wonder
hmm.
Woman. I don't know.
$15.
I was got to say it's on the
I'm
cheap
thinking
side.
like 200 or 2,000. One of those.
I'm gonna say 2,000.
I think it's 200. I'm gonna say
2,000 was
200.
a lot back then.
Yeah, that's why
I don't want to hear
a
them
lot.
whining anymore. They should have invested it better.
I got 130 from Shannon. Connor with 100. Gene with 1,000.
I buy you a lot of Malo cups.
Yeah.
There's an investment.
Someone knows their Superman trivia because $130 it was.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. Very nice,
There you go.
Shannon.
Nuts.
Final question of Superman trivia in honor of Superman Day. Who is the tallest actor that has played Superman?
Henry Cavill.
Trying
No,
to think of his
Gal
name.
Gadot. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna say Henry Cavill.
I'm trying to think of his name off the top of my head. I can't believe I forgot it. The Smallville guy.
Tom Welling?
Tom Welling. That's what I'm going to go with.
I'm going
Say
Christopher Reeve.
Okay, we'll let the chat chime in. I see a Christopher Reeve. We have a Brandon Routh guess.
Oh, Brandon Ruth. Yeah, it's probably him.
Christopher Reeve.
Good old
This one,
Iowa boy
Christopher Reeve.
representing.
It's either Reeve or Ruth.
A late
Fee,
$1
Foo,
million hairs.
Wait a minute, Foo. I can't believe that you did not guess your dear friend, Dean Cain.
Dean Cain. I
It's-
forgot about Dean Cain.
Doesn't he come on your channel and hawk his merchandise?
He does, yeah. He sells his signatures on my show.
I feel
Yeah.
like those are all skinny and Tom Welling's big. If it ain't him, it's someone we're not thinking of from the 50s that's super tall. Like one of those guys.
Congratulations at 6'4", Mr. Christopher Reeve.
Wow.
Tallest actor to
Yeah.
play Superman.
And the
Cool.
best.
I think
it's
the
tough to
tiniest.
beat that.
I think the tiniest is the current Superman, Tyler Hoechlin.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Am I the only one that feels like when you see him, you're like, he does not look like Superman. He looks
He
like
should be-
he's swimming in the suit.
He should be playing
I
Mighty
like
Mouse.
I think he's a good actor. I think he
Yeah,
nails
I
it.
like him though.
Oh yeah, he seemed like a nice actor to play Superman. I didn't know he's that short though.
He looks
It's
small
right.
in the suit. Like it doesn't
I've
feel like
met
Superman.
Tyler, and I'm 6 foot myself, like 6 foot on the dot.
Uh-huh.
And now they're trying to say I looked up his height online, and it said 6 foot, and that is not correct because I was much taller than he was.
Why did you say he was 5'4"?
He wasn't that tiny.
I thought you-
5'4".
I thought you said he was 5'4".
You went from 6 foot to 5'4". That he's lying about his height by that much.
What
Yeah.
Tyler Wellington? What was how tall was
Tyler
he?
Wellington is two different people.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tyler
The current TV show. Superman.
Tyler Hoechlin, they say
Hoechlin.
online that he's 6 foot, but I'm 6 foot, and I've met Tyler, and I have stood next to him, and I was taller than him by
Oh, okay.
much.
So maybe he is 5'4".
I think he's taller than mine. So,
All right. Well, this is the end of the show for any that are new here. I know we had some people that are new here. We're going to go around, shout out our channels, and do a book show something maybe related to the story, maybe not. And before I do that real quick, links to everyone on the panels in the description. Sub them up if you have not. And I believe next week is Tony's channel, or is it Ryan?
Let's go with Ryan. I'm
Ryan?
Let's
coming in
go.
last for the next couple of weeks. I'm coming in like last minute. So
Next week
do
on the
that.
Magic Lasso channel. And that's a good segue because we're going to go clockwise again. So what's going on with you, Ryan? And what do you have to show us?
So on my channel this past week, I did a video with an AOK unboxing from Mr. Gretzky 9966, and there's some great silver HDC that I unbox in that video. So that's up on my channel for you to check out. I have a back issue of the week short, which is a tribute to George Perez. His birth date was a few days ago. I'll be doing a back issue of the week in tribute to Neil Adams, whose birth date is coming up this next week. So that video will drop tomorrow morning. On Tuesday, I'll have a video of comic book editions with some recent Nucadia and some half-price books, back issues that I've recently picked up and added into my collection. So look for that video to drop on Tuesday. For my book show, since it's Superman Day today, I thought we needed to do something Superman. And I saw this, which I had from my childhood, and I have never shown this as a book show. The World's Greatest Superheroes presents Superman. So this is a tiny little paperback that was a reprint of some of the newspaper stories. It's black and white inside. This came out like circa, there's one version that came out, one printing came out in 82 and one printing came out in 83. So it reprints some of the superhero stories from the newspapers at that time, which were primarily Superman and Justice League focused. So this little paperback, which I love, is my bookshelf for this week.
That's
Quit
cool,
spending
man.
my money,
I don't think
Ryan.
I've ever seen that. Yeah, right.
I almost just booted you right off the show. Quit spending my money.
Get out of here.
All right, let's jump over to Tony. What's going on with you, sir?
Got some things in the works. I'm still playing around with YouTube Shorts. I really enjoy playing with YouTube Shorts because it's content that I can make on the fly, and I really don't have to invest a lot of effort into them. But the videos that I'm putting in more effort are coming later.
Watch his videos. He doesn't put much effort in, but they work.
Not at all, but they work. You can't argue with it. I got 2,000 views out of the one, so I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it. But yeah, book show. I'm keeping it Superman themed. See, I'm not even ready. I only have the rest of my cameras on, so I'm just going old school today. Superman Rebirth #1, signed Steve Orlando. Supergirl #1, also signed by Steve Orlando, and one that I try not to buy signatures, but this one I did, and I bought it when Foo was in town. You remember that? I picked up the Superboy signed by Carl Kessel. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and one more thing. I picked this up at Costco on the cheap. The newest edition of the DC Comics Encyclopedia. That is current all the way when they're talking about 5G. But it's pretty cool. It's got it's got a little bit of everything, Normally this retails for $40. I think you paid $20 for it. So awesome. If you see this laying around on the cheap, definitely pick it up. And I thought, maybe it's like water damage or something, but nope, just on sale. So I picked it up and I've been flipping through it, and it's got all kinds of obscure characters that I've seen like once, like the Crimson Avenger.
He was in DC Comics Presents as the backup story on the very first comic I ever got.
Yeah.
How weird is that you mentioned
he had
that
a mini in there in the 80s too. I think they came out of that.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff in here.
Superman and Flash episode of DC Comics Presents has the backup of the Crimson Avenger.
I'll have to check it out.
Awesome. Well, Dave, what do you have coming up and to show us tonight?
All right, so for my book show, I decided to break out my JLA #1. First appearance of the White Martian. I totally knew that beforehand.
Oh, so that's the issue 1 for the story that we just read. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
I think it's key in another way, but I might be wrong because it could be a little pricey on eBay.
Yes, this book has definitely climbed over the last few years. So, you can still find this for like $10. At an LCS. So if you see it, definitely pick it up. I mean, it's pretty cool. But I was really excited to see that this was Grant Morrison. In fact, I'm going to go back and read these now because I always like giving his stuff a chance. I didn't know it was Superman Day, but speaking of Morrison and Superman, one of my favorite comics stories of all time is All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison. If you haven't read it, go check it out. It's a fantastic maxi series. It's like 12 issues. It's
agree with that.
Yeah, it's like an Elseworlds type story. It's wonderful if you like Superman. Like, you got to read it. But yeah, that's my book show. Honestly, not too much going on my channel now. Just I've been kind of slow in getting to my LCS lately. But Tuesday, actually no, I do have two things. Tomorrow I'm going to be on the Knockout on Mr. Comics 89 channel. I'm going to be battling for Sinestro. It's like a 4-way battle. Okay. And then on Tuesday is the next season of Building a Mystery with Doghouse Comics. So definitely check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Doghouse puts out some incredible mystery boxes. And this season of Building a Mystery, he's just going to open it all up, and we're going to get to see how the boxes get built. And we're actually going to get to provide some input into those boxes as well. So let them know what we think about it.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Well, for me, I did a live just unboxing some figures a couple days ago, and I did do my Journey into Mystery, Journey into Legends, which is my review of Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, one story at a time. I know I'll be trying to do that weekly if I can. I don't know about anything else other than we hope to do the Phantom Zone. Been having trouble getting that scheduled, which is an all Superman show. Me, Retrotigo, and Super Russ 9000 do. So be on the lookout for that. And my book show, I just have one thing, and I kind of hinted towards it. They did these New Year's Evil villain one-shots. This is the actual first appearance of Prometheus.
Oh,
Weirdly
really?
enough. Yeah.
Make yourself big.
So he came out. He would have shown up in this issue sort of like how Bane showed up in Vengeance of Bane.
Yeah.
And then his actual first story is what we read tonight. So
I think I have a Magog book like that.
Yeah, there's like a Mr. Mixelplick, this one, I think a Deathstroke too. There's like 4 or 5 of them. I find these in 50-cent and dollar bins. That's how I got all of these. So be on the lookout for it.
Definitely.
So,
Awesome.
So that's a first appearance there, huh?
Yeah.
yeah. He was a big deal, like I said, leading up to New 52. And I think he's shown up post New 52 maybe once, but never as big a deal as he was near the end of the old universe. So, because he's a pretty big deal at the end. But with that, I want to thank everyone who watched this live, everyone who watches on the replay. Saw a lot of great channels in the chat. So if you're watching, look up those names you saw. Check out the panel in the description, like I mentioned. Sub everyone up if you have not. And with that, we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.